Welcome to your morning flow for confidence and clarity. I am Katie Arnold. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my new channel. We are here to quiet the noise today. For your practice, you do not need any props, but if you happen to have two blocks, I really love the option of blocks in one of our poses at the start of our practice. But if you don't have any, don't leave. You can do this whole practice without it. We are going to go ahead and just get started in a child's pose. So knees are going to come out about as wide as your yoga mat. Big toes towards one another, hips sink down over the heels. Hands can reach forward. Forehead might soften all the way down to the mat. If that's not comfortable for you and you do have a block, you could slide a block underneath your forehead. Or if you don't have a block, you could choose to just slide a pillow or a blanket rolled up underneath your forehead. Just to start with a little bit of softness, especially for this practice today. I really like to think about the connection with that third eye center, so that space between your eyebrows. This is a space of clarity, but just softening in, letting go of anything that may have come before this. And especially if you are taking this practice in the morning, maybe before anything has had a chance to happen, seeing if we can not worry about all the things that might be coming later in your day. And instead, just kind of starting here, starting from this place of presence and ease. Maybe taking an opportunity to set an intention for your time on your mat. This can be something super personal to you. It could be something as simple as your breath, and it could just be something as simple as starting your day with confidence and clarity. And just kind of gently start to rock the forehead from side to side. So we get to massage out that third eye center, that space between the eyebrows. Thinking about activating it, thinking about inviting it into this practice, turning it on for the day. Go ahead and stop that rocking. Reach the fingertips forward towards the top of your mat and then walk your hands over towards the right side of your mat. Left hand might stack on top of the right, getting a nice side body stretch. Think about the left hip pulling down towards the heel. And walk the hands back through to center and over towards the left side of your mat. Maybe right hand stacks on top of the left this time. Right hip down towards the heel. Sending your breath up and down the right side body. And then walk those hands back through to center. Slide your hands back as you pull yourself up to a tabletop position. So wrists come underneath those shoulders, knees underneath your hips. And then inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze, coming through cow pose. Exhale, belly button to spine, chin to chest for cat. Inhale as that cow, heart shines forward, gaze pulls forward. Exhale through cat, let that spine round, pulling up towards the ceiling. And we're continuing to take a few more rounds here. So start to take this with your breath. Letting it be okay if your breath is a little bit faster or a little bit slower than mine. And I also really like to give the invitation here to take any additional movements that might feel nice. So that might mean a gentle sway of the hips side to side, or gazing over one shoulder or the other. That could look like lingering in that cat pose or that cow pose for a breath or two. So we just start to really find that personal connection with how you're feeling today. Taking a little bit of that agency, greater sense of awareness and connection. And it's okay if today a simple cat and cow feels fine. It's okay if today maybe you don't have that awareness or this is something you're still working on. Just noticing as you take this class a little bit more, take one more round here. Noticing as you take this class a little bit more, you start to build a little bit more of that awareness. Or as you tap into your practice a little bit more, do you build more of that awareness? So coming through, back through to that tabletop position, curl those toes under, really engage that core and start to lift the knees up off of your mat. And we're just hovering them off of the mat. So palms are pressing the mat away, really finding space in the shoulder blades, gazing straight down in between your hands. This is our bear plank. Also could be called a little bit of a floating tabletop position. Fingertips spread nice and wide, evenly distributing the weight in the hands. Take 2 more breaths. And soften your knees down to the mat. Untuck your toes. This is where if you have those blocks, it can be really nice. So I will show you how I do this with blocks. And if you don't have blocks, you're just going to not do it with blocks. It'll look exactly the same. So we're starting in a child's pose. So knees come out nice and wide, big toes towards one another. And I want you to really think about pressing those big toes together. Hands are going to come onto the blocks. So you might have to kind of find that adjustment. If you're not using blocks, hands are down on the mat, just like normal. We're really going to engage our core, which is why we started with that bear plank pose, but we're going to inhale, start to lift it up, big toes pressing towards one another, core super engaged. Exhale, drop the hips down, finding this upward facing dog variation. So inhale, start to send the hips back. Exhale, settle all the way down in that child's pose. So we're taking this super slow. Core stays really engaged through this movement. So inhale, start to press it up towards that tabletop position. Feet are lifting up. Exhale, hips soften down, heart shines forward, gaze lifts. Inhale, start to lift it back, moving towards that tabletop, and exhale all the way back, child's pose. We'll take one more here. So inhale, find that lift. Exhale, let those hips soften all the way through. And then inhale, lift it up. Exhale, soften it all the way back. Take a full round of breath here. If you're using those blocks, you can set them back off to the side, or you could take a breath or two in that child's pose with the blocks if you'd like. And then start to press yourself back up through our tabletop position. And we're starting to make our way back to our downward facing dog. So curl those toes under, let your hips go up and back. We're in that upside down V. So taking a moment here, feel free to pedal out those feet, bending one knee, bending the other, walking out your downward facing dog. This might feel especially good in the morning or really anytime if those hamstrings are really tight.
And then find a little bit of stillness. So heels pull down in the direction of your mat, chest presses back towards your thighs. Those heels don't need to touch the mat by any means. They're just moving in that direction. And then inhale that right leg high behind you, three-legged dog. Exhale, start to bring that right knee towards your nose, and it's going to help us step that right foot all the way through. Inhale both arms up for our crescent. So in this high lunge position, right knee is over that right ankle. Hips are square with the front of your mat. Length up through that side body. Take a big breath in. Palms face forward. Exhale, cactus those arms. Open up that chest. Inhale, arms reach high. Exhale, step that left foot to the top, standing at the top of your mat, Tadasana. Exhale, hinge at your hips, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, plant your hands, step it back, high plank pose. Our first high plank here. So palms pressing the mat away, just like when we were in that bear plank. Heels pulling towards the back of our space now. And we want that long line of energy, crown of your head to the heels of your feet. Take an inhale breath. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Full breath in. Full breath out. Inhale that left leg high behind you. Exhale, left knee towards your nose to step that foot through. As you're ready, inhale, lifting up to that crescent pose, that high lunge, and settle in here. Let it feel like we're on railroad tracks, not a tightrope. So if you're feeling really wobbly, I want you to widen out the base of those feet. Stay for an inhale. Palms face forward, cactus those arms. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, right foot steps to the top of your mat. Exhale, hinge at your hips, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, plant your hands, step it back, high plank. 2 breaths here. Stay for that inhale. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Full breath in. Full breath out. Slight variation. Inhale that right leg high. Exhale, right knee to your nose. Step that right foot through. Inhale, arms up for crescent. Stay in pause for that exhale. Big breath in. Big breath out. One more inhale. This time, exhale, find a bind at your low back, clasping your hands together. Inhale, puff that chest up, pull those shoulder blades back, that fist goes down. And exhale, start to humble it forward. Right shoulder is going to come and rest down on that right thigh, allowing that bind to reach up and forward towards the top of your mat. If this is not available for your shoulders today, hands come down to the low back. You'll get a really similar sensation without going quite so deep. Big breath in. Stay for that breath out. One more round of breath. Really find that place on your mat. Rest your gaze. Release that bind. Inhale, lift it back up through your crescent. Exhale, step to the top, standing top of your mat. Take a breath in. Exhale, hinge at your hips, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, plant your hands, step it back to plank. 2 breaths. Finding that core engagement, really building your inner power. Big breath in. Exhale, hips back, downward facing dog. Full round of breath. And over to the other side. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, knee to your nose and step that left foot through. Inhale, both arms up for crescent. Pausing here. Find that solid foundation in the legs. Big breath in. Exhale is that bind at your low back. Try to take the opposite grip from before. Inhale, puff that chest up. Exhale, humble it forward. Left shoulder resting on that left thigh. Bind reaching forward towards the front of your space if that's available, or hands to the low back. Gazing down at your mat, no strain in that neck. The unmoving point on your mat will also really help with balance here. Core is engaged. One more round. Inhale, lift it back up. Exhale, step to the top of your mat. Inhale, maybe gazing up high. Exhale, hinge at your hips, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, plant your hands, high plank pose. 2 breaths. One more inhale. Exhale, hips back, downward facing dog. Find your breath. Noticing where you're at here. We have just a little bit more work. A little bit more power to turn and fire on our confidence for the day ahead. Our confidence in ourselves, our confidence in where we're headed. Inhale, shift it forward, high plank pose. Exhale, lower one forearm, lower the other forearm. So we're coming into a forearm plank. You can stay right here. I'm going to give you some options. You can stay right here. You can clasp your hands together. And if you need a modification in this forearm plank, knees come down to the mat. But if you want to take this a little bit further, start to walk the toes in. Let the hips go high. This is our dolphin pose. So it's really similar to a downward facing dog, except we are on our forearms, gazing back in between those legs, thinking about getting the shoulders over the elbows. This is not an easy pose, so meet yourself where you're at here. Take 3 more breaths wherever you are, whether it's here or in that in that forearm plank. If you are in that dolphin, first walk it back out to that forearm plank. And then we'll all soften our knees down to the mat. Hips over the heels. Landing in our child's pose. Forehead resting down. Regaining control of the breath. Connecting back to your intention. Noticing what clarity might have come forward. Three more breaths here. And start to roll yourself back up, coming out of your child's pose. I hope
you feel more clarity, you feel more confident, you feel ready to take on whatever your day has in store for you. I hope you also have the ability to see that consistent practices will help you gain more strength, will help you gain more confidence, will help you find greater levels of clarity and connection to yourself. This practice is always here for you. Come back as often as you need it. Subscribe to my channel if you are not already. I would be so grateful. It helps more people find more free yoga like this video. Comment below and let me know how your practice is going. And I have a free daily practice calendar. I will leave a link for that in the description below. Make sure you grab that. It will help you tap into a daily practice. Thank you so much. I will see you back here for your next practice.